Hello, it's Sandy from Ledoux Designs coming to you tonight a little bit earlier than we used to, just to see if it works a little better for other people. So tonight we are going to play with some Sassy Club stamps. So hi Diana. We're going to use this, and I know it's like a honey pot, but also there's a cookie, so it can be a cookie jar. So we're going to use this die tonight, and we're going to use the Cookie Monster. This is what we're going to color, and we're going to color some of this. You'll see. Just hang out. You'll see. You'll see. I'm excited. I like playing with all these new things to create with. Hello, Cheryl. So I already cut out my little Cookie Monster. He's ready for some cookies for sure. Hi, Donnell. So I also have this, what they call a standard grit mat. If you guys haven't seen me use this, it's sticky. And I usually use it if I've already cut out my image, so that it doesn't roll around my desk while we're coloring and stuff. So I'm just going to stick him on here so we can start coloring him. Hi, Beth. And, okay, so we're going to color the Cookie Monster, but tonight we're not going to do his eyes. We're going to do something different with his eyes. So I'm a little bit excited about a couple of different things we're going to do tonight. So let's go ahead and get started so we have enough time. So we're going to start with the Cookie Monster. Actually, we're going to start with his cookies. But that's okay. You know what I mean. There's a Monster at the end of this book. Is a great book. I do like that book. I'm with you. It's great. We're going to start off with, now there's, when you're doing chocolate chip cookies or snickerdoodles or whatever you want, I usually like to give them a golden brown on the outside edges of them because that's the way I like to eat them. So I'm going to use E35 to start that off. And I think the monster at the end of the book is Grover, not Cookie Monster. We do have a Grover stamp, so we can definitely do him as well, but another night. So if you want to see any of these, I mean, these, we'll probably be doing more Sesame Street because I have all of them. I mean, I even have the Sesame Street location and the mini Sesame Street characters. And yeah. Well, I have them all. We even have the count. So this is just one stamp set that I have, but there are a bunch. No. It's okay. I know, I love that book. I used to read that book to Cooper too. But I can see how, I mean, they're both blue, of some sort of blue. Both of the Grover and Cookie Monster. But tonight I wanted to make the cookie jar. I got this die, but I hadn't been able to play with it, and so I thought, what better night than tonight? Oh, thank you, Beth. I did just get them done recently. I do love glitter in my nails. So they change often, but almost always with glitter. My lady doesn't. This one actually has like some bluish green in with it, which is pretty cool. So I'm going to switch to E33, and then I'm going to pull from the edges of my cookies. Just lightly, because these are pretty small cookies, but we'll get a little bit more cookie practice in a minute. I'll show you what we're going to do. We're going to do even more cookies. I mean, that is a nice cookie jar. Don't they look yummy? But you know, the Cookie Monster, I'm not sure that's enough cookies for him. because he likes so many cookies. This is E31 and it's really light, so I'm just kind of dabbing it in there versus blending it in there so that I can keep the center of the cookies lighter than the edges. And it seems to be going very well, so I am happy about that. I'm going to move this light because when I put my hand there, it shadows it. And I want you guys to be able to see what's happening. There we go. Now we have some yummy, yummy cookies. Now, I'm going to make the cookie jar red, so we're going to do that last, because you guys know I like to save red till last when I can. So we're going to go ahead and start on the Cookie Monster. Now, I haven't done this image before, so this is my first time, so hopefully the colors I chose for him turn out magically nice, but this is what I have: B37, B26, B34, and then B14. So I'm hoping that turns out to be the color I want, but if not, you know, hey, it just can be what it is. Is this the grip mat you were talking about on Saturday? Yes, this is the grip mat. You get it at Dollar Tree, the $1.25. It's got some coloring on it from before, but it's still really sticky, so it lasts a long time. See, he stays on there. And then I just put the plastic back over it after I'm done using it, and use it again next time. Okay, so B37 is going to be our darkest color, so I'm going to start with that. Now, I want him to look furry, so there's going to be a lot of brush strokes going on with this one, all except for in his mouth. So I'm going to make his mouth a very deep, deep blue, because he's not real. He doesn't need a pink mouth. He needs a very dark color in his mouth. Now, it's going to get, I'm going to put a lighter color too. I'm not going to make it all one color, but this part up here, I really need it to be the darkest color. I want to do it pretty careful. You know, we could have just drawn a cookie in his mouth since he's eating cookies. We could give him a tongue. But he didn't have one, so, you know, he doesn't get one, I guess. But we'll give him some little tonsils. I'm just kidding. Okay, so now our shadow areas. So I definitely want to get some up underneath his eyes because he has extremely big eyes. They're usually sitting on top of his head. So with our shadow color, we're building out. We're building out from there. So we're going to be adding our brush strokes starting now. Sorry, my brain is functioning a little slower right now because I have a really bad headache. But I'm trooping on anyway, even though I have a headache. We're going to keep doing it. We're going to keep going, keep going, keep going. Nothing can stop me from coloring. Well, unless I get nauseous, then, you know, we're done. But yeah, he's super cute. And there's so many more in this collection. It's just so much fun. Like, I'm excited about this little Count Dracula. And then there's Elmo. I don't know her name, but there's Cookie Monster. And there's like 3 or 4 other sets. That's just one of them. So a lot of options for Sesame Street. Okay, I'm going to do just a little, extend these little areas right here just a little bit more with this dark color. And then we're going to do up underneath his neck, but I want to be careful not to make his cookies blue. You don't want blue cookies. So we're just going to put tiny brush strokes there. I like them. A little bit longer on this side. And we'll build in the rest of his neck here when we get to that part, but we don't really need to right now because we're just in the beginning stages. We have several more colors to go. So over here on his hand, I definitely want there to be a darker color in between his little fingers. And he's got little wacky fingers going on here. And then this hand looks a little bit more like more humanish than the other side. But you know, it don't matter as long as he can hold his cookies, he's happy. Cookies are the most important thing to him. It even says it on the sentiment. It says his love language is cookies. Okay. I'm going to extend these out. I think just extending these out kind of gives me that idea of what direction I'm going to want to make my brush strokes, because his fur is going to kind of be like going everywhere. So down here under his big belly, we're going to give him some shadow under his belly, and then we're going to start building out a little bit of that furry on the bottom part of his leg, or the top part of his leg. And then I always, since they're not wearing shoes, I always want to give them like a really dark sole, like foot sole, not like, you know, not the other kind of sole. So I always put a really dark around there. You love cookies, and cookies are for me. Yes, he loves cookies, and cookies are for him. I love cookies too, but I have specific types of cookies I like. Sometimes, if it's not the kind of cookie I like, it's not worth eating the sugar. But there's not very many times when that's the case for me, because I like me some cookies. I like double stuffed Oreo cookies. I like Thin Mints. And I like anything with marshmallow in it. You know, Easter was my thing because it had marshmallow peeps, and I just love them. Okay. So now we're going to move on to B26. And we're going to keep making those brush strokes and extending them out, because we got to start getting some color on this guy. We only have 2 left. If we need to, we can always add another color, but I didn't really want to add another color, so we're going to want to extend out a little bit further, especially on his face. So see, snickerdoodles are good. I mean, I'll eat them. I like them, but they're not my favorite. I mean, I wouldn't ask for them unless, you know. I can tell you what cookies I don't like, though. And they're my husband's favorite cookie. I don't like oatmeal raisin cookies. Just not a fan for oatmeal. Because this blue color is so dark, I'm probably going to have to go back in and put his, maybe put his mouth and smile back in there after we're done. But we'll see if the lighter colors lighten it up a bit for me. He's going to look really crazy, but I want him to look really fuzzy. So I'm putting a lot of different brush strokes in there. So he'll look a little crazy right now, but it'll come together, I promise, at some point. I won't stop until it looks good. And like I said, sometimes I practice before the live if I've never colored it before, but I did not have time to do that. So y'all are getting my very first time pass on this guy. Now we're going to start building that all the way around to his belly. And then we want to start angling them out where his fur goes. So his fur is going to come up this way, but then it's going to curve into his belly like this. I want him to be really fuzzy. So he'll look funny at first, but it'll come together. All right, so hands. This hand, a little strange for me. It's a little different than what. So I'm not really sure exactly, but as long as we get him looking like really good hands, we should be good. I mean, no one's going to be looking at his hand. They're all worried about everything else. I do want his fur to go up to his hand. So I'm going to do those brush strokes going in that direction, a little bit under his hand right here, coming this way. And then we have to do the hand. So I'm going to start a little bit in here. And then I'm going to start moving these down. I think his hands are furry too, so I want to get a little bit of motion going on in those hands rather than making them smooth like normal hands are. I don't want them to be like that, so we are going to make them fuzzy too. And this fur is going down. It's not going to go across. So I'm not going to do it this way. I'm just going to do him up and down because he's standing up. I think he needs to have some wiggle room there. B34 is next, and we're going to have to use a lot of this one around the outside, filling it in and leaving just a little bit for the highlight. So I'm going to start filling this in, but I promise this last color is going to change the tone of our image because I felt like it needed a little bit more brightness. When I was choosing the colors, I knew this was going to be a darker, less vibrant Cookie Monster unless I added back in some of that like really bright tealish kind of color. So, but first we have to get a bunch of this color in there because there's a lot of space left uncolored. And I don't want to put that very last color all over here without a little bit of another color in there. Now, I didn't do the inside of it, the rest of the inside of his mouth because I haven't decided if I'm going to stick a tongue in there or if I'm just going to make the whole thing blue. I haven't decided. So when I decide that, that's when we'll finish his mouth. So I'm just kind of leaving it hanging for right now. Now I'm going to do some additional brush strokes going up and down because he wouldn't have fur only going in one direction on here, and I don't want to leave myself any of those thick edges. So we're just going to build that in there. So it looks a little funny, but I wanted to have more brush strokes coming from the center area. Let's see how this fills in. I think it's just going to look way better when we get that last color in there. I'm just going to have faith. There we go. I love it. So far, I'm happy. I'm going to start doing a little bit up from the bottom of his feet since it's all going to have to go up. I probably should put a little bit of the darker color down there, so we may have to go back in and fill that in a little bit more. And I'm okay with that. We can come back to that. No worries. Because that's when we can decide what we're going to do with that mouth too. Because I think he's going to need just a little bit more fur. So if we have to build into the fur a little bit more, I'm okay with that. And I'm going to show you how to do it. All right, we're getting there. Just building that out. Before I do the last color, I think I'm going to come back in with the previous color and build in just a little bit more. I feel like it needs just a little bit more before I come in with that last color. Just because I want him to be really fuzzy. So I'm going to go back to the B26. This is one step back from where we started out at. And we're just going to put in a little bit more of this darker color. You'll be able to see how much that changes it up a bit. Want some really long brush strokes, just so we can get in a little bit more fur in here. And if you do these back and forth and try not to touch the paper too much, you'll get very thin lines that'll work very well together. This is just adding a little bit more on top of the ones that we already did, so that's why they're infrequent and just kind of random on there. So we're just adding a little bit more depth to what we did. And then we need to add from the bottom of the feet up that we didn't do earlier. Sometimes I can do that really fast, and sometimes I gotta go a little slow. Are your dogs whining because you're watching me on video instead of paying attention to them? I know how that can be. I used to have a puppy that didn't like sharing the attention. There we go. I needed to get a little bit more on the underside of his face. Add just a little bit more in here. I'm going to go over this inside of the mouth because I really want it to stand out. I've decided not to do the pink. Decided to just stick with his blue mouth. You're late, but you made it. Yay! That's okay. We started earlier than... We started at 8 tonight instead of 8:30, so they have to have 2 treats, and they can count. And they can count? That's funny. Okay, so this is B34, so I'm going to add that in his mouth and kind of mesh those colors together so they blend up nicely. We're just going to work on that. We can always add more if we need to make it darker, which I think we do. So I think right now, while I'm coloring it, I'm going to get the B26 out, and I'm going to lift some of that color off of there and mix it with this color. So I get a good transition between the two. There we go. I like that. Okay. I'm also going to, whenever you do that tip to tip, you definitely want to wipe off anything before you start moving on to the next thing that you might have picked up on your marker. So I'm just coming in here and adding a few more of this before I do the lightest color. Just in a few places where I feel like it needs just a tad bit more of this B34. Not very many places. I think that's all I need. And then here comes what I'm hoping is going to lighten and change the color to the perfect color. So B14 is what I chose, hoping it'll work. And this is almost going to be just like a really light touch sweep over the whole thing just to get this blue color in there. So notice I'm going from the bottom up around his mouth, and what that's going to do is not drag this dark color lower and make him darker. I don't want to make him darker. And it's okay on the eyes. We're doing something different for the eyes, so I'm okay if I get a little bit in there in his eyes of this color because it's not going to matter. This is just mixing these colors together. I hope that's light enough. Yeah, I think that's enough of the light blue that I wanted to add to my Cookie Monster to make him a little bit different color, but definitely still blue. I mean, there are so many different pictures of Cookie Monster with different shades of blue that you can make your Cookie Monster any color blue you want, you know? So I'm going to start at the bottom and go up, and then I'm going to go to the top and come down. So I want to add this color in both directions. There we go. And that really smooths it out and adds that really pretty blue. I'm going to do the same thing with his legs, down and up. Kind of blending those colors together, but don't scrub it. Don't go over it and over it and over it. Just one clean coat over top of it will make it delicious. Okay, so for the eyes, I need to go in here real quick, and I'm going to move a little bit of this blue out of there. Not that it really mattered all that much, but we're going to do it anyway. And now while that's drying, I'm going to do the cookie jar, and we're going to do the cookie jar in red. So I'm going to use R59, R56, and R37 for my cookie jar. So the bottom, the base, this line right here that separates the jar from the bottom of the jar, and the bottom of the jar will have this darkest color. I really want it to be darkest down there. And then this section right here, I want to show the difference between the top of the cookie jar and the lip of the cookie jar. And then I'm going to put a little bit in between his fingers. Fingers, paws, I don't really know exactly what you would call them. Fur, hands, mittens, I don't know. Anyway, there we go. Now we're going to switch to R56. R56 is next. And we're going to put quite a bit of this in because we only have one more color and we need to get some of this in there. Now these are a little bit more on the purpley red, if you will, rather than a bright red. But the next color will bring it back more to a cherry red. But I really wanted this to be a deep red. A deep red. All right, so that's R56. And now I'm going to switch to R37. Still a dark red, but a little bit brighter. So I'm going to actually do this one all the way across. Now the part that was white, as long as I don't blend too much, will show a highlight. You see it right there? But it also changes my brownish red. It deepens the color and changes it to a little bit more of a bright red versus that very deep color. So I like to do this sometimes to show my shadow. I like to do it to just show the variance between the colors. There we go. Still got some highlight on the jar down here. And that's just from the changing the two colors. And look at how cute he is. Oh my goodness. So I just need to put one color in his eyes, and this is going to be strange because we're not going to finish his eyes because I have another plan, but I need to fill in a little bit of the whites around the outside. So I'm just going to go around the entire outside of his eyes with this W2. It's just going to make this smooth transition between what I'm going to put on his eyes and the white space. I just want to fill that in a little bit. So I just added a bit of that W2, and I'm just going to leave it just like that. Now, I have a few other pieces ready, so we're not quite done coloring. The die set that I'm using looks like this. It has a cookie jar and cookies. So I cut out some cookies, yummy cookies, and I want to color them because they just don't do as good like this. You need to put some color in them, I think. And here's my cookie jar that I punched out. And then I put the word cookies on there because I knew it was going to be challenging to try to get that many letters on a banner with the alphabet being that big. But I really just used some alphabet stickers. It was all I had. So I just stuck them on there. And this is what we're going to use for our cookie jar. But we need to color our cookies. Right now I'm estimating a red card base, but we'll see. And we're going to use this food paper pad for a barbecue, even though it's not cookies. We'll find some blue in there that'll work out good for us. So before I remove my little Cookie Monster, I want to use these eyes. Now this is called I See You. It's by Doodlebug Designs. And I really like Doodlebug. And these, mostly I use these for like spooky eyes. But I thought that they would be kind of perfect for my Cookie Monster. So I'm going to place them over top, and this is why I didn't want it to be stark white around the eyes because it doesn't fit like 100%. It's like a little bit smaller, but still I think it'll look perfect on there. I like it. I want his eyes to pop out because, you know, Cookie Monster has really big eyes. And we're going to put him going in different directions because that's what the artist had on the image. So we're not going to put his eyes in the same direction. So he's going to have some goofy eyes. I mean, look, how cute is that? See, I wanted his eyes to stick up. So I'm going to use my little tool here to press those eyes on there. And then I'm going to lift him off this sticky mat. Look at those eyes. They stick up so much. It's so cute. And then we didn't even have to color his eyes. Wasn't that awesome? All right. So we're going to put our Cookie Monster aside and we're going to work on these. Now, in order to do these, I don't necessarily have to have them on the sticky mat because I'm going to color right off of them. So I just need a piece of paper underneath them. So I'm adding the plastic back on top of my sticky mat and I'm going to put that aside. Now I'm going to grab this, just this blank piece of scratch paper I have here, and I'm going to add my cookie. And then don't worry, I have a trick for our chocolate chips too, because the die cut cuts them out, where you could just put a piece of dark brown behind it, but we're not going to do that. I got something else for that too. It's perfect. I know, I loved it too, Beth. So we're going to use the same colors we used for the other cookie, the ones that the Cookie Monster had in the cookie jar. And we're going to make these cookies look like that. So I'm going to go around the outside, and I'm going to use the chisel end. So I just want to build in this color around the edge of the cookie. And this is on tan paper, so it's going to look just a little bit darker when it's wet. And when it dries, it'll be lighter. So we're going to start off. We're not going to make a straight line. It's going to be kind of random because that's the way cookies cook. And then we're going to switch to E33. And I think I'm going to stay with the chisel end because I think that's the easiest one. So this is E33. We're just going to build this in. It shouldn't take us very long to do them. But I thought they make a better impact if you get to see them all colored up versus the just plain. Now I'm going to come in with the last marker I have, which is E31. And I'm going to finish the center section. Now, like I said, it's going to be really dark until it dries. So we're going to set this one aside and do the next one. And then we'll come back to it when it's dry. Right now it's extremely wet. So we're just going to do the next one. We'll actually do the next two at the same time because that way we don't have to keep opening the marker. We can just set them side by side.
When you lay that first color down,
yeah,
you should go around each of the chocolate chip circles.
I don't know. I don't need to. I have a plan.
Okay.
Dale's offering suggestions, which are great suggestions, but I don't. I have a different plan.
I was just doing it based upon how the cookie actually cooks.
But he was saying to go around the little circles there, but I don't really need to do that because I'm going to be kind of covering them up. So you wouldn't be able to see it if I spent the time coloring it anyway. So I'm not going to do that part. But he always has good suggestions, and I don't cook, so I wouldn't even begin to know how the cookies cook because I don't make them. I just eat them. I don't make them. Dale makes them. That was fast. I love that die cut set. What name was that again? Oh, no. Don't be sorry. It's totally fine. It's, I don't know that it had a name on it, but it's the honey pot. So it has a honey pot, dripping honey, the lid, the cookie, and then it has the label for honey if you had Winnie the Pooh or something. And then it had another label that I thought would look good for cookies. So I'm sure it has a name, but the name is not on the package. So, but I would look for like honey pot or cookie jar maybe. I bet it would come up for both. Yeah, Dale will look it up and I'll tell you in just a minute. This is E33. And we're just blending out with E33. And this is really random. Like, you don't have to be specific. I mean, no cookies cook the same, I'm assuming. They all cook at their own speed. But yes, There's also, if you really like the cookie jar and you wanted to use it for Winnie the Pooh, there's also there's an additional set of dies that add like a different topper and the front panel so you can make it a shaker if you wanted to. So we could have used that one and added these cookies, a whole bunch of these cookies, and made it a shaker card. This is 35. I need 31. This is 31. So there's a lot of different stuff you can do with this, and I'm sure at some point I'll be doing a shaker with it because it's just so cute. Plus I got the Winnie the Pooh set, but that has the bridge, so I don't know if I'll use the honey pot or the bridge. I don't know. You know, so many things. Although teaching you guys how to color the bridge would be, I think, helpful to you guys. If you think so, let me know. I can show you the bridge at the end of the video, and you can tell me if you'd like me to do that. Maybe we could do it Thursday. There are my cookies. This is what they look like when they dry. Doesn't that look like a cookie? Oh, I just want to eat that cookie. All right. So these two have to dry. They look a little funny, but when they dry, they'll look like that one. So we will be all good. Now, for my cookies, and while those two are drying, I'm going to let those dry, and we're going to work with this one first.
It's called the honey jar.
It's, Cheryl, it's called the honey jar.
And they have two. The one you have is the honey jar, and they have a honey jar add-on.
Okay, so there's the honey jar and then the honey jar add-on. So there's,
which looks like a jam jar with the
yes,
over top.
Yeah, it looks like a jar of jam. It has like that little cover, that little material that covers over the lid and like gets longer or whatever. And then it also has a panel. Can you just hand it to me? It's right over there.
Oh.
Just it's right over there. And I can just show them what it looks like. Okay. You would love to see how to color the bridge? Okay, we should do that.
Over here.
Yeah, I'll get it. Oh my gosh, look at them. Look at those Hershey Kisses that snuck into the picture. Those are also Doodlebug designs. And I already had them, so I thought, wouldn't it just be cute to add these as my little Hershey Kisses or my little chocolate chips? This is the other one. So it has a ribbon that goes around right here. And this can go over the top of the pot. So this is the pot. This would go over top. And then this is the piece that goes along the front that makes it to a shaker card. So see, they're exactly the same size, but you pop this piece up and put a window sheet and you can make it a shaker. This is the add-on. And this is the original one. So, two different sets, but super cool. Yeah, I know these are cute. Are they not? They have a couple of them have different faces. So some are closed eyes, some are open eyes. They're just so cute. So some of them can have white chocolate, some will have chocolate. So I thought I know it'd be a little bit tedious, but I thought how cute would it be if we just added these little chips, both kinds of chips, to our cookies. Hey, don't stick to me, stick to my cookie. There we go. And I just thought they'd be fun. I've had these little chocolate chips for quite some time and I haven't used them up, so I thought now would be the best time to go ahead and use them. And I checked all of them, and this was the only hole that looked like it was really big and that I would have a problem covering. But I think it'll cover enough. Yep. That you won't see it. They do have faces. Yes, they do. I know, it's so cute. I have a lot of this Doodlebug stuff because I just love them. I just think their stuff is so cute. So we have cookies with little chocolate chips in them. These are pretty dry now. They're dry too. So see, their colors are in different spots, so it looks like it was cooked. So it's just going to take me a second to get all these little chocolate chips on here. But I think that's okay. We got white chocolate chips and regular chocolate chips. How yummy. I'm all for that. I'm just trying to lay them in different directions. So we get a little bit of design going on here. I've used them for Hershey Kisses, like at Christmas. I've used them inside the card when I said hugs and kisses. So there's always different ways to use the little Hershey Kisses, but I don't know why they popped into my head for these cookies, but I was super excited to use them tonight. I mean, we could just put a piece of paper behind it, but this makes it more dimensional, and it's just cute. What can I say? It's just cute. And I'm putting them on there randomly, so it doesn't really matter to me how many are on there, or which color's on there. Just as long as I get some, that's all I care about. And I'm trying to move them around in different directions, but if I don't get them that way, that's okay too. I wish they had those little, what do they call those little buns, like from that game, Hot Pots? What do they call those?
Bow buns.
What?
Bow.
Well, however you say that, buns. Those little buns that are curled up at the top, they're so cute. I wish they had those in these little sizes, because I could have some fun with that. This is the only one that's a little challenging, because that hole is just a little bit bigger than the other ones, but it will fit on there if I can get it just right. The other ones weren't as hard, but this one I have to get just right. That's good enough. All right, so now we have, this card is going to be awesome. Thank you. Hi, Kathleen. So these sprinkles were called Bitsy Chips. Bitsy Chips. They're Doodlebug sprinkles. So we used ICU and Bitsy Chips for our card tonight. I'm going to zoom out now. Hey, Mom. Okay, so we have cookies. We have, yay! We have our Cookie Monster with his cute little ICU eyes on there. So already cut, I have the panel that says cookies on it. I have the honey pot or cookie jar. And now I think I want to color the top notch of my cookie jar. I think I'll use the browns as well. So I think I'll just use the really dark brown, the E35. Not that that's a really dark brown, but you know what I mean. Just to give it a little bit of a different look than just being solid. So just because we die cut these doesn't mean we can't color them. I just want to change the top notch of the little jar. Just, I don't know why, I just did. Just wanted to give it a little bit different look. I think it's cute. It's a cookie jar. How can it not be cute? Okay, so I was thinking the red card base will pull in the red cookie jar. And then our Cookie Monster is blue, so I feel like we need some blue. So we could use polka dots, or we could use all different color dots, stripes, or whatever you call that. I was thinking this one.
Blue stripe.
Huh?
I like blue stripe. The one that you had.
Dale likes this one. So I guess since he has a big opinion tonight, I guess we'll try that one. I like this one. I was thinking it would be cute with the different colors, but let's go with this one. Dale would like it to be this one. Let's make sure our Cookie Monster looks good on there. He does. Okay, so now we have to cut our paper. Our card base is A2. So 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So we're just gonna cut this down by 1/4 inch. So 5 1/4 by 4. And that'll give us our mat for our card. Oh, this is going to be fun. Now I'm wishing I would have made it a shaker because, you know, how fun is that? All right. Now, we have several options. I kind of want to put him on this side. I don't know why, I just do. And then we're definitely going to have to put the word cookies on the cookie jar. But I couldn't decide if I wanted the cookies to be behind him or if I wanted the cookies to be coming out of the cookie jar. So you could do them out of the cookie jar like that. But I kind of like it with the lid since he has cookies coming out of his cookie jar. So the lid fits on it like that. So now we have, so let's build our cookie jar real quick. So I'm going to put some glue on this. And we'll put the cookies, and he'll be standing in front of the cookies. So let me put some along the bottom of this cookie jar lid. So I try to match up the sides with the edges, like the edges of the cookie jar, so that no red is showing around the outside of the cookie jar. See? Just put the lid on top of the cookie jar like that. And then this, I just used some glittery sticker letters that I got from, like, I don't know, Michael's or Hobby Lobby or something I had in stash that I probably had for a million years. And then we're going to put this on the front of our cookie jar. Right here. You can put it wherever you want. I just, you know, centering it on the cookie jar. Not that we didn't know it was cookies because it is a Cookie Monster, but okay, our pieces are put together. So now I need to put this panel on the front. And then we have to figure out how we're going to put all this stuff on there. I did not have a layout in my head already. I just picked out the colors and the pieces and figured I'd wing it while we were on the live. Hoping it would work out. I do that a lot. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. But I do love this. I mean, you could make this a birthday card, or, I mean, this one sentiment on here is so funny. It says, I like it. It says, "Me love language is cookie." I think that's so cute. It also has "It's your birthday," sending monster hugs. So it's very universal in what you use the specific card for. I don't have a specific thing I want to use this card for right now, so I'm just gonna leave it with just the, oh man, I gotta trim this down. I was just gonna leave it with cookies on the front and then add later whatever I need it to be later. This is for the inside because sometimes when I give the cards to people to give away, they don't have the right kind of pens to write on different colors of paper. So I just became a habit to always add a white sheet on the inside. So no matter who gets the card, they can...
You can always put cookies on the inside.
Huh?
You can always put cookies on
I could, but they're... now they're dimensional, so they won't fit as well on the inside. But if they don't fit on the outside, that's exactly where they're going to go. But I put all the chocolate chips on them, so now they're a little bit bigger. So I think I'm just going to stack them behind the Cookie Monster. You know, you could always do it with the jar open, or like this with the cookies falling out. You could do that too. So there's a lot of different ideas. Be great for a Girl Scout den mother. Yes, it would, because they sell a lot of cookies.
You should do this where you don't cut a little bit off the side, so you can make it into the jar into a card.
Yeah, I know, but it was smaller than I wanted it to be, so I didn't do that tonight. But I do want to make the jar the actual card sometime as well. I want this one to look like it's a whole cookie, not a half-eaten cookie. This one can be a half-eaten cookie. This one can be a whole cookie too. We could put it like that. We don't want to cover up all our cool little guys. So I don't know what we're going to do with this one. We got one in the front.
That'd be the one on the inside.
Dale thinks we should put one on the inside. So maybe we'll put one on the inside. Oh, maybe he could just be holding him a great big huge cookie. How about that? That looks like I have a cookie jar and I'm eating a big cookie. I think that's what we're going to do. Because it's so cute. And we'll put the other one on the inside. Why not? Okay, so we need to put we need to put this down first and then the cookie jar. We can pop up the Cookie Monster if we want to. It'll make it a little bit easier. I want to make sure this stays on the card, but over the cookie jar. So now I'm going to add glue to the back. Can you imagine how cute this would be if we'd have cut out like a whole bunch of cookies and stuck them in a shaker? It'd have been so cute. You agree with Dale? One goes on the inside. There we go. That part fits right there. Just pressing it all down so it stays really well. And then this little guy, should I pop him up or just the cookie? I should pop him and the cookie. Let's put this in his hand and then we can pop both of them up. So we're going to stick this on the tip of his hand, but I want to make sure that it's going to stay on the card. And then I have some pop dots right here. I know it's in my rotating. Oh, that's not it. Where are they? Oh, here they are. So we'll just use these. They'll go pretty quick. Okay. Slippery little suckers. I have some smaller ones for smaller areas in case I need them. And we are going to pop this up because, you know, it's just fun that way. I like to pop stuff up every now and then. It just makes it makes for a happy face. You get all excited. Look at that. So cute. All right. So we need a couple of small ones just to make sure we don't sink down in. I didn't want to put the bigger ones on his hand because I X-Acto knife cut this out and I don't want you to see it through the image. So I had to just add some smaller ones. Not a problem, just a little bit of a task. Now we're just going to take off all of these. I hate when they stick to my fingers. Hey. Behave. We should be able to get all the big ones off, and then we have 2 little ones to go, and we should be good. I mean, you can always add a sentiment anywhere you want. You can add it up here, or you can add it at the bottom where his feet are. Or you can just add to the inside. Just kind of up to you on how you want that to roll. But yeah, I think he looks really good. A paper wizard. I do like, I mean, I've made a lot of cards, but I always like to do something different. Here's our last cookie. Eek. We're going to stick that cookie on the inside. I think we'll put it on this side since he's popped up on that side. That way when it mails out, the big, the bulky parts will be one on each side, so it should even it out fairly well. Oops, not what I wanted that to go. So if we rub that off real quick, it'll go away. If you ever drop your glue like that, you can also use one of these gummy erasers. We'll take it off. And you won't have to worry about it. And then you can put your cookie on there. Just in case you didn't know that. And then it won't stick closed. So you'll be good to go. So there's a cookie on the inside. There's cookies on the outside. And we can always add bling. Where's that bling you did for me, Dale? Is there some I can use? Are you out here? Oh, these are purple, aren't they? Yeah, I need blue. All right, we're going to add just a little bit of bling and then we're done. Ah, yes.
It might be a little wet.
A little wet?
Yeah.
Still?
Because I washed them.
Oh, okay. Oh, these are going to be perfect. Oh, yeah, we're going to do this. Okay, we're going to add just a little bit of bling. So we're going to add 2 over here, 1 over here. Maybe we should add 5. Maybe 1 down here. So we're going to add this one over here. Hey. There we go. Then we need a medium one. Oh my goodness. It's misbehaving. There we go. Let's see if it works better if I don't use my finger that was already sticky. And then we'll use a little tiny one down here. And then we need another medium one right here. Yeah, those other ones were purple. They're not going to work on this. But these blue ones, they'll work great. So now I have 5 bling on there, and it does want to stick to my finger. There we go. All right. Perfecto. There we go. You're so grateful for 8 o'clock lives. Yay! Yes, Dale made them. They have glitter in there. He made them for me. I needed them, so he made them. I'll let you see them. Sparkle, sparkle. He's awesome like that. So here's our up close picture of our amazing little cookie monster with his awesome chocolate chip cookies and his cookie jar. And then when you open it up, you have a cookie on the inside. I need to stamp the back and sign your work. Always, always. Otherwise, oh man. That's what happens when you use your stamp and you have a dimensional thing on the inside of the card. So it's okay. I'll cut a piece of paper and stick it over top so you'll be able to see it. Probably one like this. And we'll just trim it up and stick it right there and it'll look intentional. But when you have dimensional, don't stamp over that.
Stamp first and dimensional.
Stamp first, then stick the dimensional. But I hope you guys like that. It was super fun. So let me show you the one that I was talking about for Thursday, because some people were asking about seeing what it was that we were going to do. And since you guys want to see the bridge, I'll show you the image. So this is water, grass, bridge, and you can put your characters on the bridge. So we'll use some combination of this on Thursday night, 8 o'clock. This is called The Woods. So if you guys want to join me, that's the one we'll be using on Thursday. I hope you like the Cookie Monster. Thank you for joining me tonight, and I will see you guys on Thursday. Here's our stamp set. One more look at these in case you needed to see them. Hey, Sandra, you popped in just in time. This is the, what'd you say it was called, honey?
Honey jar.
Honey pot?
Honey jar.
Honey jar. This is the honey jar, and you get some additional dies. They're on the back. This is the add-on for that if you want to make it a shaker. And there's our Cookie Monster.
Show the inside.
Huh? What'd you say?
I'll say open it up and show somebody the inside.
And there's a cookie on the inside. Super cute. Love you guys. See you on Thursday night. Don't forget, we're going to do the bridge and Winnie the Pooh. Good night.